Hey guys, this is a quick disclaimer for the video you're about to watch. The audio here was done months ago and the artwork here is extremely outdated. So don't think I'm going back to the old style of video editing. I'm not. So yeah, that's that, and enjoy.
Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be discussing how the world of MLP works within the boundaries of harmony. It's going to be a pretty long one again.
Need some help?
A male? How did you get in my... Wait, you're not in my channel. How are you talking to me? Is this just all in my head? I just said that it's going to be a long one. Maybe I'm subconsciously constructing someone in my own mind to help me out and make this project seem easier.
Nope, I just finally figured out how to manipulate these rifts that have been popping up all over the place. It was getting a bit lonely over on my channel, so I figured it was time to expand. Mind if I help out with this video?
Oh. That was anticlimactic, but sure, yes. Come in and be the first official guest to my channel. Hope it's not too messy.
So what was the topic again?
It's how the world of MLP works within the boundaries of harmony.
Well then, I guess the most basic place to start off would be with the movement of the celestial bodies, seeing as how they are the most harmonic of all the cycles Equestria goes through.
Indeed, it's not just the sun and moon though, it's the whole freaking system of weather that's in Equestria. Everything works through a harmonious collaborative process. A great example of this would be rain. Instead of the normal world where water evaporates, condenses, and then precipitates, Equestria works through the collaboration of Pegasi. Quite simply, the process of evaporation appears to be non-existent in Equestria, since Cloudsdale couldn't create any new clouds until the tornado transported the water, implying that Pegasi have to get water up to Cloudsdale instead of some process of evaporation, and that this Pegasi process is how the clouds are made each year.
But why is it that this natural process of evaporation doesn't happen? The sun should provide enough heat, but for some reason it just doesn't work. The sun might not be doing this simply because of how it's controlled, making it a choice by Celestia. Why would she do this? This action would have two great benefits for Equestria that I can see. First, it would be a great way to stop a multitude of natural disasters that might otherwise be a prevalent factor in Equestria. Same goes for how the moon may be operated. Its gravitational pull could be used to stop many things such as tsunamis and monsoons. Also, the fact that this system doesn't work makes it necessary for the community to work together to be able to survive. It's a further need for collaboration in order to survive. It's a further need for everyone to come together for a mutual interest. It makes the Pegasi of all of Equestria have to collaborate in order to survive and become dependent on one another. It's a genius way to bind all the Pegasi together.
As I said, this is true of the whole weather system. All weather is controlled in a collaborative way. We saw in the episode Sonic Rainboom that there's an entire network set up in Cloudsdale where each Pegasi has their own job towards changing the weather. If we were to go one step further, we would cite Winter Wrap-Up where everything was connected and the Ponyvillians had to work together so that each job got done at the right time. For example, Applejack wanted to melt the snow immediately so they could plant the seeds, but Fluttershy insisted that the animals had to be wakened before that happened. They couldn't get it done until they collaborated, which further demonstrates my point.
When you think about it, Winter Wrap-Up wasn't really the Earth Pony way, as it relied pretty heavily on the use of Pegasi to get it done. Yet another way that every pony in Equestria needs to rely on one another for society to function.
To add to this statement, we unfortunately do not know how the unicorns use their magic to change the seasons. However, they could easily have a collaborative process to doing so. After all, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
To contrast that, how does the Everfree Forest fit into this? It's one of the few examples of disharmony still in existence in Equestria. It is, as Applejack puts it, unnatural.
Precisely. The Everfree Forest is a perfect example of how the MLP universe works in a collaborative manner. Even Twilight, who is not scared of the Everfree Forest, does not argue against this point. Instead, her argument is, yeah, it's unnatural, but so what? We shouldn't be scared of it. This viewing of natural and unnatural is actually the complete opposite of the real world. In the real world, we view our way of involvement as artificial and against the laws of nature, whereas the ponies of Equestria strangely view their collaborative harmonic process of involvement as natural and anything counter that as unnatural. The Tree of Harmony from the Season 4 premiere perhaps gives this notion even greater validity. From this, we can deduct that the Everfree Forest is unnatural because it works completely on a survival of the fittest way, where every creature is on their own without pony aid. This is obvious from the bridal gossip statements. The plants grow on their own, the animals care for themselves, and the clouds operate on their own. All of these statements center around the fact that collaborative effort is not used.
Is it really unnatural to them, or is it just that things have gone on this way in Equestria for so long that no pony knows any better?
Yeah, it would be a pretty good idea to look at their history to get a better idea, don't you think?
Yeah, it would also be a great idea to take a look at the tale of Her Swarming Eve first, since up until the Season 4 premiere, it was where the majority of our information on the past came from.
Talking about how the best episode of MLP shows the grand importance of collaborative harmony in equestrian society? That's an awesome idea! All fan gushing aside, the main point behind the historical tale of Hearthswarming Eve is one of collaboration and harmony. In most episodes, we get a sense that where the main six lives focuses on collaborative harmony, friendship to be more precise. And from Hearthswarming Eve, we get a further sense that the entire nation of Equestria also puts profound importance on collaborative harmony. After all, the tale focuses on 3 tribes which were different and came together through the fire of friendship. Since Equestria as a country centers their attention on this tale, we can deduct that the concept of collaborative harmony is greatly important to most Equestrians. Now, if we were to believe that the tale of Hearthswarming Eve is accurate, which it obviously is, one could easily conclude that the very name, Equestria, relates to harmony. After all, the national term of Equestria was first coined within the play right after they agreed to establish a colony. Therefore, Equestria is harmony, so to speak, because the name represents the bonding of the tribes.
Also, while what each individual tribe called the land was reflective of their own tribe, Equestria can be related to the term Equestrian, which is the term referring to all horses. If we were to infer further, we could even make the claim that this lesson of harmony has withheld the test of time. Reason being, the lesson is still memorized in detail, even though it was before Celestia and Luna's rise to power. I think it's safe to say that Celestia and Luna can be seen as the bringers of absolute harmony to Equestria. And not just them, but all of the Alicorns. While Celestia and Luna move around the celestial bodies, as shown before in order to create harmony, they ensure that collective harmony is a huge part in the running of Equestria. All of their acts, such as the commemoration of Hearthswarming Eve, and the forcing of the need for collective effort, are needed to hold the land of Equestria together. How did the other 2 known Alicorns play into this? They have both shown extraordinary talent in subjects that promote the harmony in Equestria. Cadence fosters love in ponies, and that brings the land together, while Twilight has an extraordinary talent in magic, which is in itself an element of harmony in the show. Celestia and Luna themselves play a much more active role in the process. They have manipulated society in a means to bring out a law of harmony.
I completely agree that Celestia and Luna bring about a notion of absolute harmony, though I think with this notion they also bring an almost brainless notion about harmony.
What exactly do you mean by brainless notion?
Well, the citizens of Equestria have this crazy notion that everything will be fine and harmonic despite the fact that plenty of villains and dangerous creatures have harmed them. Throughout the first 3 seasons, we saw a series of threats come up, such as a Ursa Minor, 3-headed dog, and evil Trixie. Seriously, why doesn't anyone remember that this world has problems? My guess is because this world has so many supernatural problems that an ordinary person would be shit out of their mind on a daily basis. In order for these ponies to live in this world, they would have to believe that the established harmony can keep them safe. This would explain why the main 6 make some rather questionable actions, namely leaving the elements of harmony in plain sight after Celestia gives them to Twilight. Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Celestia seems to go to some extreme effort to make ponies forget about these types of events as well. She had Discord, a tyrant who reigned over Equestria, causing chaos for years, remembered as nothing more than a statue in a garden, with no more than a piece of stained glass telling the actual story. I've never heard anything about the tales of how the Crystal Empire was conquered and its inhabitants enslaved by an evil and powerful unicorn king. She has even gone to such lengths as to have the betrayal of her own sister remembered as nothing more than a fairy tale that never actually happened. The way Celestia dealt with these 3 is apparent of Secrecy as well. Sombra and the Crystal Empire were sealed away where it could never be found by anyone. Discord was turned into a statue to be hidden in plain sight. Luna herself was sentenced to be nothing more than just a few indentations on the surface of the moon for 1,000 years. With Luna's betrayal, the whole situation becomes even more sketchier. I have never once heard any mention of what caused Luna to be angry enough at Celestia to try and remove her from power to become the sole princess. What we witnessed in the flashbacks from the Season 4 opener would have us believe that Luna was jealous, saying that there could only be one princess. We only saw the few moments leading up to her transformation though. In the Season 4 premiere, we saw Luna use the blue, orange, and red elements of harmony to defeat Discord, of the elements of laughter, honesty, and loyalty. If ponies needing to have a deep connection with the elements they use remains true to Celestia and Luna, I don't see the pony of loyalty suddenly deciding that she should overthrow her sister to take all the power for no good reason. There would have to be some other problem to cause a fight like that.
This brings us to an even bigger topic, the lens of harmony. Ponies seem to have a strong reaction about what they view as disharmonious. The best example of this is with Discord, who is viewed as the embodiment of chaos. This title cannot be true though because of Keep Calm and Flutter On. Now, people complained that this episode was in the wrong because Discord is the embodiment of chaos and thus cannot be reformed. I disagree though, because in my opinion, the episodes always hold superiority over Headgeddon. So from this I get a new idea. Ponies misperceived Discord to be the embodiment of chaos. Discord showed himself to be a master of chaos who could cast magic that seems to lack any reason or explanation. Equestrian ponies then saw him as nothing but pure, unbridled chaos instead of an actual living being, which makes sense when you take into context their world. This created a positive feedback loop, preventing Discord from having any friends and giving him no reason to change his ways. And it wasn't until Fluttershy looked beyond this lens of harmony that Discord became restrained. A similar thing happened with Sakura, who was viewed as a bringer of unnatural things. As I mentioned earlier, their nature and harmony are in a sense connected. So accusing Sakura of being unnatural is actually accusing her of defying the established harmony. Again, it wasn't until some pony, Apple Bloom, looked beyond the lens of harmony that Sakura became integrated into society. Not all of these stories end up positively though. Since friendship and harmony are connected, any individual who seems to defy a tenet of friendship is shunned from society. For example, Trixie. She just wanted to perform a show, but the crowd thought that she was bragging, and thus she pretty much loses her entire career. Even after Magic Duel, we have no clear sign that her life will get any better.
It's not just with other ponies. Equestrian society has done the same thing with the Everfree Forest. They have gone as far as to create and maintain an entire army to defend themselves from what lies within it. We have seen the Wonderbolts deployed to stop things like dragons, and we can presume that the Royal Guard performs a similar duty. Fillies and colts are taught to fear the Everfree Forest and to never enter its boundaries. They seclude it off from society because if what is actually in there is discovered, it would cause many ponies to live in fear from what is just on the other side of a tree line. This part might actually feed back into Celestia covering up the past. She can pass off stories as fairy tales, but it's pretty hard to cover up the existence of a giant castle you used to call home.
Speaking of stories, all of the episodes of Friendship is Magic have been portrayed as lessons of friendship or harmony, even though some are normally not considered as such. By depicting each lesson this way, it becomes clear how significant harmony is viewed, and it's through this method that lessons can actually be manipulated to seem harmonic or friendly, when in reality they're really not. For instance, Ghostbusters.
This reflects greatly upon the sheer importance of friendship as part of harmony, and it's this vast knowledge of friendship that she accumulated that eventually led to her becoming an Alicorn. If all of the Alicorn's talents focused around continued harmony of Equestria, the fact that Celestia is teaching her apprentice one of the many parts of harmony gives an even greater significance to the notion.
But isn't this obsession on harmony a bad thing? There are some environments in which harmony shouldn't exist.
Equestria's delicate balance of harmony is what allows it to keep running. Any change in this could be catastrophic for pony kind.
Lies! What about how this harmony hurts the economy? This attachment to harmony is what produces this non-competitive environment where monopolies exist in most, if not every, area of life. Notice in putting your hoof down that there was only one vendor Fluttershy could go to get each ingredient. If harmony is always held up to a pedestal, then working with other ponies in your field of expertise becomes commonplace. There is no competition to lower the prices and make life more affordable. Sometimes a capitalistic competitive approach can go mild.
The equestrian economy is kind of broke when you think about it. The sense of worth of an equestrian bit has been thrown all over the place on a character-by-character basis. Like in your example, this leads to the bartering for goods, an act that is definitely not harmonious. It seems like there is still some work to do in order to harmonize life in Equestria.
There is some truth to that, actually. So, wait. The equestrian economy then has the worst elements of both harmony and disharmony? It has the harmony of overbearing monopolies and the disharmony of a deregulated currency.
Well then, I'm afraid I must be off. I must use my newfound talent for manipulating these tears in the fabric of YouTube to enter an episode and report these findings to the princess.
Okay, well then I'll see you later. Thanks for coming to my channel. Good riddance, you corrupt Alicorn.
No problem. Oh, and I heard that.
Shit!